Capcom just told us we're getting two completely different Resident Evil games in one package. And honestly, I ain't even see that coming. Resident Evil 9 Requiem drops in just over a month, and after watching the recent showcase, I need to break down whether this ambitious dual protagonist title is worth your 60 to 70 bucks, or if you should just wait for a sale. I'm talking about a game that promised you to give you a classic survival horror and RE4 style action, all while waiting and bringing us back to Raccoon City. So let's talk about what Capcom revealed, what got the fans hype, and what's raising some red flags. So Re9 is officially launching February 27th on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PC, and even the Nintendo Switch 2, which is crazy. Honestly, day one on the Switch is wild, but you heard me right. Day one Switch 2 release. But what drew me in, real talk, is the moment I heard that we're going back to Raccoon City, I was locked in. I can't lie and act like I was a huge Re fan from the beginning, but doing research for this video and watching other videos for this one, I found out we haven't been to Ground Zero since I think the outbreak of Re 3, and that was set during the actual incident. And this game takes place 30 years after the city was nuked. So we're exploring post-apocalyptic Raccoon City, and that alone is a massive hook for longtime fans. You're playing as two characters, the GOAT Leon Kennedy, you feel me, the veteran DSO agent that we all know and love, and then this shorty named Grace Ashcroft. She's a brand new FBI intelligence analyst who's not your typical action hero. She's described as an introverted bookworm who feels powerless compared to other protagonists. My boy, the GOAT, you already know. But anyway, Grace is investigating a mysterious death at the Rentwood Hotel in Raccoon City, where her mother was murdered 8 years prior. Meanwhile, Leon's tracking down incidents tied to a former Umbrella scientist named Victor Gideon. Now, here's some expectations versus reality. I expect another Resident Evil Village situation, you know, one protagonist, one style, but the director just dropped that Requiem is essentially two games in one. Grace's section is pure survival horror like Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 7, and Leon's parts are all action-packed like Resident Evil 4 that you all know and love. They literally tried to make Leon play like a horror game, but the dev said people wouldn't want to see a timid Leon. And I think that is true. So they dropped the idea entirely. Y'all probably asking me, who is Resident Evil 9 for? Is it for the longtime fans? Is it for the new fans? Well, if you love both classic survival horror and action game, this seems tailor-made for you. But if you're only into one style or the other, you know, left or right, you might spend half the game wishing you were playing the other character. Remember Spider-Man 2, where it was Peter Parker and Miles. Some people had issues with going back and forth. It's going to be similar to this, at least in my opinion. But let me break down what you're actually doing in this game, because it changes dramatically depending on who you're playing. Let's start with Grace's gameplay. That's a survival horror side. Grace is not a fighter. Think Ethan Winters meet classic survival horror. Here's what the showcase actually revealed. First off, we getting limited resources, so ammo is extremely scarce. You're encouraged to sneak past enemies, not actually fight them. And then the ink ribbons return. In classic difficulty mode, you can only save as Grace using ink ribbons. We're talking old school hardcore mode, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I ain't doing it. So if you come into my stream, we not doing ink ribbons. I need to save my game because I'm gonna be scared. But moving on to the stealth mechanics, you can crouch, you can hide under tables, you can throw bottles to distract enemies. There's also a stalker enemy, likely probably Victor, who hunts you throughout the whole entire crib, similar to like Mr. X or that big thick lady, I forgot her name, but y'all know what I'm talking about from the last game. The lighter, you have a lighter to see in dark areas, but it attracts monsters, zombies, whatever's trying to get you attention. And honestly, it's a huge risk versus reward, especially with the crafting system, because this is wild. You need to collect infected blood from the zombies to craft a special injector that can one-shot kill enemies and prevent them from mutating. So you're forced to engage in combat sometimes to make supplies for later. Don't like it. I'm already scared. I can already feel it. And then we got the Requiem gun, the gun that's named after the title of the game. Grace has one powerful weapon, and it's called a revolver. called the Requirem, but the ammo is incredibly limited. And it's like, all right, if you want a crazy situation, you got a one-hitter quitter for you. And the big mechanic here, you may ask, is the zombies retain characteristics from when they were alive. So you'll see zombies, you'll probably see a zombie chef in the kitchen really cooking it up, going crazy. You might see a maid cleaning the mirror still, or you might even see some party goers wandering down the halls looking for the next party. But you need to study their patterns and exploit their behaviors to sneak past them. Let's talk about Leon's the GOAT gameplay, and that's the action side. So Leon is bringing the heat. If you love reinforced combat, you'll feel right at home. We got the hatchet parry system. Leon dished that lame ass knife for a hatchet that can be sharpened, and you can parry attacks and deliver crazy combos or crazy finishers. They enhanced the gunplay. So the showcase already promised the most intricate gunplay in any Resident Evil game. So you're targeting specific body parts for maximum damage. But this is also kind of like, because I feel like Resident Evil, at least on the Leon side, is leaning more towards like action and today's type, FPS games or action games that you using a gun a lot. And it's okay, but I'm glad we got Grayson here at least to, balance it out. The melee combat, my boy is back with the roundhouse kicks, going crazy, kicking people, well, not people, kicking zombies in the head and smashing them, or just kicking zombies in the back and breaking their backs crazy. But Leon can also grab weapons off enemies and use them, which is wild. And then they bring in back the classic inventory management. So you got to organize your ammo, recovery items, and upgrade weapons with customizable parts. Now, this was gas. This is dope. This is fire. For the first time, Leon can use a chainsaw himself. No more running away from the chainsaw, guys. Now you are the chainsaw guy. You feel me? So I think that's pretty cool. But one detail that did catch my eye was, don't get me wrong, the showcase was kind of fire, but Leon is driving a custom Porsche. So that's pretty dope. It's unclear if there's actual driving in the game or not, but if it's just a cutscene, it's still pretty cool and interesting collaboration that I felt like I had to bring to some people's attention. Now these next mechanics are for both Leon and Grace. So you can switch between first person and third person perspectives at any time. And this is a series first at launch. And there's 3 different difficulty modes: casual, which is easier with aim assist and free saves; standard, which is balanced; and then you got the standard classic, which is the ink ribbons hardcore experience that I'm not playing. And you have a unified story, so the game alternates between both of the characters. You don't choose the story. The story determines when you switch and how you switch. Now, next up, this is the story. This is no spoilers. Just want to keep that a buck for you. But if you're enjoying the video, make sure you hit that like button and sub for more content. The setup for the game is very intriguing. You get multiple mysterious deaths across the US, all traced back to this abandoned hotel in the ruins of Raccoon City. Then you got Grace with her personal stakes. She's a journalist whose mother was just murdered 8 years ago. And on top of that, she's investigating the Umbrella's cover-up because of the murder. Leon's investigation into Victor Gideon brings him to the same location, and that's how their paths cross. The showcase did tease something that's connected to both Leon and Grace's mother's death, but we not too sure. And the director did hint that Leon has a big secret related to it. And while he's staying quiet until launch, the implications seem to be infection related. So the classic Reed plot twist territory is back. Let's talk about some of these character dynamics. Grace is fascinating because she's intentionally not like the other protagonists. She's not combat trained. She's scared. She's vulnerable. If she's like us, if we was put in that situation, then please don't act like you like that and you gonna fight zombies, because some of y'all aren't. But Capcom is leaning into making her sections feel genuinely terrifying, because you're not a superhero. You're just somebody trying to make it out through the night and trying to survive. Leon is the GOAT. He's Leon. He's the confident, badass GOAT we know from Re 4 and Re 6, and the director specifically said they couldn't make him feel weak or timid. So expect one-liners, sick combat moves, and that classic Kennedy swag, you feel me? But one detail that I said before was the zombies can still speak. So the showcase showed Grace encountering infected that retain enough humanity to communicate, which is kind of unsettling. But Let's talk about the atmosphere and aesthetic. The hotel looks absolutely gorgeous in a horrifying way. It's the decaying, overgrown structure and the nuclear wasteland of Raccoon City. The contrast between Leon's well-lit action sections and Grace's dark, claustrophobic horror corridors seem it seemed fire to me. It seemed pretty cool. And Capcom's calling this game about tension and release. So I feel like with Grace, that's gonna be the tension. The terror is gonna ramp up, and then Leon is gonna let you release all that terror, all that fear, all that tension when you roundhouse kicking zombies in the back. But that rhythm, that back and forth, can either be like pretty fire or like it's gonna mess up your vibe and mess up the rhythm. I don't know yet, but we gonna see. All right, y'all, this is what you'll be waiting for. Let's get into the honest stuff. What surprised me was the commitment to making two genuinely different experiences is bold. Most games will compromise and find a middle ground, but Capcom is saying no. Grace is straight horror and Leon is straight action, and the confidence is either genius or risky as hell. The infected behavior system is brilliant because most times you don't get to see zombies actually looking like how they used to be as humans, keeping the same characteristics, hell, even talking. Most times they just brain dead and just running around trying to eat you or kill you, which is okay, but I like the way they did this. But what has me concerned is no demo. And after Re 7, Village, and Re 4, the remakes all had demos before launch. We all expected one for Re 9, but Capcom stayed silent on this and they raised their eyebrows. Usually demos mean confidence in the product. No demos, you know what that means. The dual protagonist structure is a gamble, but if you hate one character's gameplay style, you're stuck with it for half the game. There's no choosing. The story dictates when you switch, and that could frustrate players who only want horror or action, not both. But that also is like, don't buy the game if you only want one or the other. And some of y'all might be asking, how will it run on the Switch 2? I don't know. It's impressive that they're doing a day one release, but will it be a compromised version? We're gonna have to figure that out. And also, with this price tag of $70, how long is the game? Capcom hasn't given us the playtime estimate, but if both campaigns are substantial, that's great value. But if it's a 10 to 12 hour game split between two characters, I might feel like that's light for full price. We might need more than that. But the moments that stood out was Leon using a chainsaw to get zombie. Oh my God, it's fire. The injector making zombies explode into blood puddles looks satisfying, also scary. And Grace's lighter mechanic creating that, do I risk seeing or stay hidden tension? They cooking. But with the replayability, with the 3 different game modes, I feel like there's definitely replay value here. The classic mode, the standard mode, and the easy mode, you better be switching back and forth, especially with my speedrunners and my hardcore fans. So the big question, should you buy Resident Evil 9? Well, if you want both classic survival horror and Re 4 style action, you're a longtime fan who's been dying to see Raccoon City again, you will appreciate games that take risk with dual protagonist structures. And you loved Re 2, the remake and Re 4 remake. You will love this game, but skip this. Like I said before, if you only want one style of game, play either horror or action. If you wait for the reviews and want to see the dual structure actually work, you prefer the co-op Re games because this one is only single player, and you're concerned about the lack of demo and want to see post-launch reception first, which is fair. Just please skip. But personally, I'm cautiously optimistic, but definitely waiting for reviews, or definitely waiting for my own copy so I can give a review if Capcom happens to send it to me early. But overall, the ambition is here and it's admirable. Capcom is swinging for the fences, trying to satisfy both horror purists and action fans. But that's also the risk. If the transition between Grace and Leon feel weird or out of place, or if one campaign significantly outshines the other, it could hurt the overall experience. But going back to Raccoon City, it's like too good to pass up. I'll probably grab day one if I can't get it from Capcom, but I totally understand if you want to wait and see how it lands. So I'm leaning towards wait for reviews with a strong lean towards buy this game and pre-order it. But that's everything you need to know before Resident Evil 9. If you pre-ordered, picked up the game already somehow, or have thoughts on the dual protagonist approach, please drop a comment below, because I want to hear if you're Team Grace, Team Leon, or Team just give me Reed 9 and give me both. But if this helps you decide, hit that like button, subscribe, because I got Reed 9 review coverage coming soon, the second it launches. So next week, I'm looking up